I'm the underdog with the heroic heart. I'm Eric Jones Jr. I have to keep pushing for my kids. If I give up, what's that leave them with? Nothing. I have to understand that it's bigger than me. That it's not about me when I wake up and go to work. It's not about me when I'm reading to educate myself. It's not about me when I'm practicing my speeches. It's not about me. It's about my family. Hey, you're now tuned in to Underdog Talk. I'm your host, Eric Jones Jr., the underdog with the heroic heart, and I have conversations with successful underdogs. And today we have Miss Cayla Brewton. She is our successful underdog today. She is from New Jersey. She is a spiritual expansion coach, and she's the owner of Emerge, which is her company, part of, helping people and serving people and adding value to the world. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Eric. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm really excited for our conversation today.
I am excited too, just from our pre-conversation. I know this is going to be fire. So let's see how we start.
Okay.
When you were younger, what was life like being a biracial child in New Jersey?
Interesting. Okay. So I always like to tell the story that growing up, I never fit into one group of friends. So I had friends that were white, that were Black, that were Hispanic, that were all the boxes. But they could only check one box where I could check all of those boxes. And growing up, I was told by both of my parents that you're not Black, you're not white, you're both. And so what did that mean culturally? What did that mean like just socially in my life? Was I got to be a part of different conversations depending on the group of friends. So let's say in the group of friends of maybe that were Black, I could be in certain conversations, but once they started talking about maybe getting their hair braided or different hairstyles, I couldn't relate to those conversations. But then if I was hanging out with my friends that were white and they were speaking about their spray tans for prom, I couldn't relate. So there were just aspects culturally, socially that I found myself very much so in the middle. But growing up, it wasn't something that I felt low self-esteem about or felt out of place or judged, because I was grateful to be raised by parents who were also mixed. And so their upbringing, then how they brought me up, was to be confident in that and to be given the perspective that I see things from multiple points of view. And that then played into the success of my business and what I currently do. So yeah, the situations growing up were interesting because there were certain things that I experienced that maybe my sister didn't, and we had the same parents, but literally because of our complexion, we should have the same, grandparents. Our complexion determined what experiences we got to have, even though we were checking the same boxes on the papers.
Understand. That's cool that you were able to be in different groups with different people. I remember being a kid in from Michigan City, Indiana is small, so it's more white people. But then, being Black, you're around your Black friends. But growing up, I actually lived in basically an all-white neighborhood, so I got to see what it was like to live in a white household, because some of those people babysitted us. But then I don't know if babysitted is a word, but anyways,
Babysat, yeah.
you got what I was saying.
Yes.
But I think like seeing that, but then also being Black, having a Black mom, and she definitely didn't play, because it's like times you could see maybe a white mom and a Black mom, and it's like, I can't believe you able to do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what happened to me? I wouldn't be here living right now if I was to say something or do something. So I got to see on both sides, but not actually being a part of it. So when you were like in school, what was your school like? Was it mixed school, or was it predominantly white, predominantly Black?
Yeah. So I think it's also important to like touch on like the parent aspect of what you said. So My dad is mixed. My dad's mother, my grandfather and my grandmother were together, and my grandfather was actually sent to like a holding cell for being with my grandmother, because at that time a Black man was not supposed to be with a white man. And that's just my grandparents. Like, they are still alive and well, walking on their 2 feet, and could tell you the story themselves. And that just right there brings up, like, this was not that long ago that these things were happening. And so, like, this experience of being mixed is evolving, I guess you could say. And so my dad being Middle Eastern and Black, and my mom being Italian and Puerto Rican, I really saw all the different perspectives, all the different cultures. And then that also played into my relationships in high school, friend wise as well, because I went to a predominantly white high school. And I didn't know that I was going to a predominantly white high school until I got to college, and the entire demographic was different. And that's when I realized, like, oh, I spent a lot of my elementary through high school and middle school years around more predominantly white people, compared to Black people or Hispanic people, or really just anyone of color. So there were a lot of things just about myself, my own identity, that I had to learn. I used to be a blonde with straight hair because that's, you're a product of your environment. And so for me, that was like normal, until I got to college and realized that, like, I can love my curls, I can love what I look like, my complexion, all of those things. And that came from being around others who were confident in that for themselves, which I didn't see much of in high school.
Understand. So I kind of, I think our high school is kind of mixed, but it's always more like white people at the school. So we would see like we seen racism, we seen a lot of that,
Sure.
like different kind of things just from being at a school like that. So I remember one of my close friends, when I was growing up, he was from Chicago, and he came to one of the schools. He didn't go to like the public school, he went to a private, and it was all white. So I remember him just telling me how it was for him going from Chicago to this all white school, and he would get in trouble and all
Yeah.
these different things because it was different for him. So when I went to college, so I come, Michigan City's mainly white. I go to school in it's called Vincennes, Indiana. So when I go to college, my college experience is Black people, but we're in this hick town. Like a
Yeah,
lot,
yeah.
yeah, a lot of that. Like we experience in college, we experienced a lot of stuff with police.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, just thinking of that, how
Mm-hmm.
so when since I'm Black, I don't know how it is to be white, but when
Me either. I'm a little of both. So
yeah, you're a little both, but so when you're around Black people, how is it?
yeah.
Do you get treated as the light skinned girl or the mixed girl, or like how does that go for you? Because I know, it's something that we shouldn't do, but it's
Yeah,
just a part of our culture where,
sure.
if you're a certain skin complexion, people look at you a certain way. So how was it for you, like when you got
Yeah.
around Black people?
Yeah. I was never white enough and I was never Black enough. Um, and now I'm so far removed from even really surrounding myself with people that approach me in that kind of way. Because then I added this whole other aspect of like all the crystals and the spirituality that people are really like, what are you? And so in a room of Black people, it was more so I don't know. It wasn't that I didn't fit in because I didn't feel that way. I mean, I have family that is Black. But it was more so like not, it came more so from females, because I'm a female, of like, who is this girl? Kind of like a weird look of like, they didn't know where to put me. They didn't, that's all it was. Like now I can understand. They didn't know what box to put me in. Am I Hispanic? Am I Black? Like what are you? And then people would just chalk it up to, you look exotic. So now I'm like from some island because they can't put me in a box. So that's kind of the experiences that I've had where it was just the very odd look of and that's why I understood it to be like, I don't know what box to put you in my mind. And I remember like situations from high school of like trying to have conversation with a Black girl, and the way that she looked at me at first was kind of like had like an attitude towards me, and like we ended up being like best of friends because I never let those experiences like dictate the way I showed up to speak with a person, because like my dad's probably the same color as yours, and my great grandfather is too, and my grandfather. So like it just doesn't show outside on me. And so there are aspects of the Black community that I will never personally experience because I'm in this like middle gray area almost. And I'm very aware of that as well. So, and that runs a little bit deeper for people like my sister, who is very white passing, and we have the same mom and dad. And so that's even more of an identity. Like she's got a Black grandfather and she don't look Black in any type of way. And it really just comes down to like, wow, okay, so this is actually just about skin color, and nothing more than that, because just based on that is what you're deciding what box I'm going in. So yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy because so I work at a school, teacher, and she's a white girl, right? She's like probably like your sister.
Yeah.
Blue eyes, blonde, white girl. Her mom's mixed.
Yeah.
So but she looks she has it in her. Like,
right.
Hey, like how we say she can come to the barbecue, but she wouldn't be able to because she has that, but you wouldn't be able to tell just by her skin tone. Or it's these, I guess they're white, but they're not really, because their dad's mixed, but he's like very light skinned. So when you see him, you look, oh, okay, the white family. But when you get up on him, like, oh no, he a brother. Okay, I see it.
Yeah.
And it's like it's different for them because their mom's white, they're gonna go, so just talking to you, it helps me understand how it's weird for people that are mixed or just have a different skin tone. My son, for example, he's albino.
Yeah.
So he's light skinned and he looks light skinned. But if you're like, oh, okay, he's albino. But I remember he used to be like, oh, I'm white. No, dude. You see your mom? You see me? You see your sister? We're all Black. We're all different shades. Like me and their mom is about the same complexion. His sister's dark skinned, and then here he comes, light skin, red hair. Like what
Yeah, so it's such an identity thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is, because kids are kind of joke on them and joke now, and it's like, I got joked on too, but it's a different kind of joke with him. So it's like, we as his parents wouldn't understand, like just like my parents couldn't understand because they weren't born like me. And a lot of people don't understand like the different things you go through, because it could be something where it's a racial thing and it's like, okay, I get the Black side of it, but then I got this white side, and like, I don't know where to go. So in that, with that, have you had to not pick sides but go through a side kind of thing when it comes to the injustice that's went on in the world?
Yes. So I was just gonna say, let's add a whole nother caveat to everyone that is like tuning in with us right now, because on my dad's side, so let's say my grandfather is a 6 foot tall, dark skinned Black man from the dirt streets of Georgia, right? On my mom's side, I have an uncle who is a white Italian man who happens to be a detective working the police force. So I have literally both dynamics in my life, the police officer and the Black man in my life. And my parents are divorced, so both sides of the family don't communicate as often, but at some point they used to. And so during, let's say, a lot of the Black Lives Matter movement and the killing of George Floyd and all of those things, I was in such a, I guess you could say, gray area position. And it wasn't this side is right and this side is wrong. I was able to completely zoom out from the situation because there was a lot of anger, there was a lot of fear, there was a lot of hurt, all of these emotions coming up in that entire movement that happened that summer. And so for me to be able to step back, because I have people in my family who are serving as police officers, and then I also have people who are experiencing the racial injustices when it comes to race and just your complexion and who you are in the community and all that stuff. And so for me, I never picked a side. It wasn't, I stand with my uncle who's a police officer, or I stand with my grandfather, my dad, and my brothers, who are men of color. And really what I realized is there's good and bad in all races and all genders and all ethnicities, all sexualities. And for those who may have a bit of anger, and this is me being like a little bit of a coach right now to those who are listening, but those who might have a little bit of anger towards the things I'm saying of like there's good and bad in both, I invite you to ask yourself where that's coming from. And most likely it's from your own past experiences or family experiences or things you've moved through that you get to heal from. Because that place of anger and frustration, like we don't deserve to live there forever. And the generational trauma and hurt and experiences that people of color have moved through, that Black people have moved through, is so deeply woven within all of us, that me being a person of both races, I experience it, and it's also meshed with this other side that a Black person may say is just straight privilege, right? And so it's like, how do I help heal this generational trauma and these experiences that Black people have moved through, while also still embodying this other side of me that exists? Because that's really what it comes down to, is there is good and bad in all types of people. And if we want to stay stuck in the trap that they've created for us, then I mean, be my guest, but it's nothing but lower vibration emotions that exist there: fear, anger, sadness, frustration. And no one really gets to excel and be an underdog when you stay in that place, right? So it's just important for us to recognize that. And you know, every person's experience and things doesn't generalize for an entire group of people, and that's really hard to see when so much trauma and so much hurt and things have happened. So it's not you know, pushing that to the side. It's just realizing, like, so now what do we do with it, and how do we decide to heal and move through it, from a place that maybe our ancestors couldn't or didn't know how to do. So yeah, it's happened. I've been in very polarized situations and have been able to say, like, I love my uncle the same way that I love, you know, my grandfather, and their perspectives on it. You know, my uncle will tell me there are bad apples in the police force, right? And that's the thing, that's what it is. And then there's also in the Black community people who do good and who do bad, right? And so then is it really about race, which is the next, you know, we can go far in that one, right?
Because as I'm listening to you, you don't see color because you have so much color in you from different angles.
Which
So
is,
you look at everybody as human, so you can see, you can hear the opinions of Black people. Not opinion, it could be factual for white people.
Feeling the trauma of it. Yeah.
So it's like that's dope that you can kind of like sit back and be like, I hear what you're saying, but then you can also be the voice of, because you're of both races, like, so
yes,
that's super dope that you can see it that way, because it really is about heart. It's never about color. It's always about who you are as a person, because I've met some dope white people in my life. I've met some dope Black people. I've met some dope Hispanic people. I've met some dope Chinese people.
yeah.
And it's all really about, it's about race. I mean, not race, it's about your heart and the person. But then in certain races, you're put in, like you said, a trap, or your community is brought up a certain way, so you only see it a certain way. But then it's kind of like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He from Philly. He from the hood. Then he gets to go and see, oh, they bougie. No, they not bougie. Their parents just have money. It's like when you're from the Black community and you struggled, it's like, oh yeah, I got it out the mud. Really, you ain't really supposed to have to get it out the mud. It's our parents weren't able to make a good path for us. It's not necessarily their fault, because it goes generation to generation. But it's like, you can't look at somebody because their parents have money. Or because you're light skinned and then you got a sister, you're like, yeah, this is my sister. Okay, now they looking at you like y'all y'all go to this school. Or no, I'm just fortunate. It's like, you're supposed to do the good shit in life. Like as a parent, I'm a parent. Like if I can get my son in the best school and it's mainly white people,
Yeah.
whoop-de-doo. Hey, you got to get this education and you want to go hoop. That's where we're going, son. And it's like people got to stop looking at color. Because I don't, like I said, I grew up from 5 to 18 in a mainly white neighborhood. So it's not like I can just, oh, I hate all white people. No, some of my closest friends as a kid was white dudes. And the thing is, they never try to act black. They were just them. One dude.
Well, that's its own thing right there, is being it to act black, right? Like that it's no longer about your skin color, it's about the culture that is associated with that skin color. That's really what people are talking about when you're not black enough or you're not white enough, is a culture. It's this someone who is, and I could say it, the basic, white dad, right? What comes to your mind? They have barbecues, they wear New Balance sneakers, they wear khakis, they wear shorts when it's 50 degrees, 40 degrees, right? Like we could picture this person.
Yeah.
Versus then we could talk about someone in the black community. You're going to get a totally different image in your mind. But what has happened is it's all programming. It's all the media we tune into, the news we listen to, the social media things we see, these celebrities, like all of those things are what it should look like. And if we decide to identify with those things, then we're going to keep carrying that out and it's going to keep us all separated. And something that my grandma has always said to me, who was with a black man who got arrested for being with her, was, one day it's going to be so mixed up, you're not going to be able to tell what anyone is. And I think that scares some people, because right now it's like you can put people in boxes. As humans, we want to categorize things and have order and have like systems in place. And when we get to that point where you look at someone and you can look at people the way people look at me all the time, of like, what are you? Who are you? You can't put them in a box. It's going to keep happening more and more and more. And those are the perspectives that we get to bring to light, because it is, like you said, I don't see color, but in summer of 2020, if I went up on social media and said, I don't see color, I would have been canceled. Yeah. Because people are picking and choosing what's okay to say, what's not okay to say. And like, it's, yeah.
So look, this is the crazy thing when you said about culture or acting black or acting white. If you go and get a black dad and a white dad, they're similar. We're barbecuing, we got the slides on, we throw the shorts on. Like when you get around dad, it's similar. It's like a lot of stuff is similar, but a lot, everybody deal with stuff different. But when you have a dad and you go to the birthday party and y'all sitting there, y'all talking, now y'all cool and friends. Oh yeah, the kids can hang out, we can hang out. Yeah, oh, you can barbecue. Oh, okay, let's have a cook-off then, and stuff like that. Yep. But when you look at media, and especially for black dads, they're not active. I know way more great black dads than I know bad black dads. And
it's not a stereotype. Yeah.
Just like I'm in a black fathers community, it's like it's a stereotype of how they look at it. And it's like, so with me being a speaker, when you speak, they kind of want you to dress up. Dress up? What's that? I don't dress up. Dress up? What? No, I can be myself no matter if I'm black, white, if I had tattoos or whatever. Long as I come in, the kids are like, oh, he's dope. Yeah. I learned something from it. It shouldn't matter, and it don't matter because I'm coming in with a shirt like this. I might have a fitted on, and I got some shoes. I might have shorts. I might have some sweats that fit. Like I'm myself, and people gotta like, you can't look at the color of somebody because you never know where they came from. Because it could be like somebody gets adopted and they're okay. So you got a white kid that gets adopted to a black family, and now he acting black. No, he grew up in a black household. It's
just a culture. Yeah.
Just or vice versa. Like, or I used to joke on my sister. I remember because my granddad, I forgot, he was in the other room, but he could hear us. And I was like, you talk white. And it was just stupid of me to say that as a kid. Like, you talk white.
Well, you don't know.
You talk like you got an education. Because guess what she went to school for? To be a teacher. So it's like, but this is the crazy thing. Guess who's the teacher and who's not the teacher? I'm the teacher and she's not the teacher. And I'm the one that don't got the talk white, but I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna be able to teach the kids, because you can't look at the color of somebody. And you're the prime example, and that's what I'm hearing as I'm listening. You got different perspectives on that and different things. But so how you went through life, you still probably
Mhm.
go through different things. So how does it, you said it transferred into your business. So how does it,
Yeah.
how, like, what do you talk about? What do you do with what we were just discussing in your business?
Yeah. Yeah. So background on what my business Emerge even is. So the word emerge means to become known by definition. So what I do working with people and one-on-one coaching and energy healing and all those things, it is all around connecting with and getting to know what your purpose is. Why are you here on earth? And then allowing you yourself to feel confident and grounded in that purpose so you can show up in the world that way to make your impact and to keep moving forward. So the way that this has played into my business really starts when I decided to invest in working with other coaches myself and finding mentors myself to build a business like this, because the conversations were, I was always the youngest in the room in these groups. I was always the youngest in the room. And I was always, most of the time, the only person of color in these groups. And so I knew that part of me building my business, and I didn't even really do this intentionally, was to allow everyone, and white women who run businesses like this will say it too, but then you see the containers of people that they call together and the people they work with, and they all look the same. Let's put it that way. And so I was always kind of like the one who didn't look like the others in the group. And so I knew they'll say this for everyone that they work with to feel seen and heard. And it's one thing to say that and be able to deliver that to the best of your ability. But for me, when I say to clients and to my community, I see you, I hear you, it doesn't only just come from like my heart, but it also comes from my life experiences, which is so much different and such a different avenue, because I don't just call in and work with and support clients who are white, who are Black, or who are just multiracial, because that's what I am. Where a lot of coaches or people in this industry are white, so they only really call in a majority of what they look like. Because a person who wants a coach wants to resonate and see themselves in some way in that coach. And if you want a mentor, you want in some way to see yourself in that mentor. And so a lot of people can see themselves in me because I'm a blend of so many different things. And so this has allowed me to hold space and perspective for people of all races, all genders, all sexualities. I've had people of almost every race that we could think of, all the boxes, work with me. I've had people identify as gay, straight, all of the sexual, whatever your sexual preference is, and even down to their ethnicity and their belief system, where you'll see that is another thing as well, as religious versus not religious, right? And that's an entire conversation in itself of like believing there to be truth in all religions. So I can hold space for people of all different belief systems, because there is no right or wrong, just like there is no you can only be one or the other, because I'm both, I'm all of those things. And so I've never denied any piece of who I am, and that's allowed me to achieve more success in my business, because I'm then giving other people to not permission energetically to not deny any piece of themselves. You'll notice people that, other mentors may say, or people may say, like, if you want to become this, you can't do this, this, and this. Like you said, if you want to be successful, you have to dress this certain way. I come in and defy all of those things, down to my skin color, down to my belief system, whatever it may be. And so it kind of like triggers some people, and then other people feel really seen and heard by it, because they can't put me in a box, and they never felt like they fit in a box. And so those are the people who are really you're starting to see their voices come to the forefront more, and having conversations like this. Like you said, like, it's not about skin color, it's not about race, it's about your heart. And so the work I do is not about what you look like on the outside, it's about you're a soul having a human experience. And I'm talking to your soul, not this human body that you're in.
So because I always take notes.
Yeah.
I love how you said, I see you, I hear you.
Yeah.
Because some people feel like I've been there. The
Mm-hmm.
guy I interviewed yesterday, he was like, he kind of gave me that I see you, I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Never met him before, only talk. That was my first time talking to him, but it was dope to have somebody say that. But
Yeah.
really, what I got from that was never deny any piece of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it took a long time to do that, especially with
Right.
my disability. It was like it took to an adult to really realize, like, dude, you ain't shit gonna change, brother. Like you gonna have these, you had it your whole life and you got through life so you can get through life. And I just remember my mom as a kid, she was like, they not going your arms aren't gonna change. And like so, you have to deny whatever every little piece that looks like it's bad, because what looks like
Yes. You
bad
have to
to you
love it. Yeah.
is gonna help other people. Because sometimes, like nowadays, it's so crazy. Like as an adult, like people will be like, "You're dope," like because what you do. Because sometimes when you see someone with a disability, you like they ain't not doing a whole lot. They're not, you don't really see them. But now more you kind of do. But it's like just hearing that and you being able to, like you said, talk to everybody. Because sometimes you, like you said, having a coach, you kind of want somebody that look like you or bit, but you can't always do that. I'm not saying this because something I've seen. I'm
Yeah.
talking about me myself. So I went to this all white church. I was going there. I was because I was going through a whole lot of shit.
Yeah.
This black lady invited me. So we go in there, and then long story short, my financial coach is a white man, older white
Mm-hmm.
man.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't think that we would even like, but dude's cool. We had good
If he
conversations.
knows what you need to know, then it don't matter what he looked like.
And
Yeah.
even outside the money, he's like, we have a relationship. He kind of like an uncle like type
Mm-hmm.
guy. Like, we talk, I've been straight up with him. He never judged me. He never looked at me no different. He like, all right, okay, cool. So we just need to do this, and this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, he's been able to help. And it's like, oh, I could have been like, nah, I don't really know. But it's like, dude, you've lived around white people. You had conversations with them before. They're dope people. But sometimes you like, oh, I gotta support my black people. And I promise it's just like sports. Every good sports team, even if it's predominantly white black, it has a good white boy on it. Like you can't like if anybody listening, you watch sports, tell me I'm wrong. Every team has a white boy on the team. He can shoot three. You might not have a Larry Bird, but you got some and everything. And it's kind of almost the opposite when you go to the all white school and you got the black dude or the black chick or whatever. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
you assume that they're just the best sport. Oh, because we're black. It's like I don't even play sports. I just came here because I'm smart. Like, what are you talking about? Like I'm not here for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's like you gotta accept everybody and you accept everybody, and that's super dope. That I think it's even doper that like you have the whole mixture. Like I think this is the first time I've had a in-depth conversation with someone that's mixed and hearing
Yeah.
their view on life, and it's like you look at it totally different because you don't. I think I'm pretty sure something gonna be like it's your character, not your skin, is gonna be like the
Mm-hmm.
title. That's what you see because, like you said, you got your granddad, you got your uncle. They don't look nothing like no. You're not hanging out. You're not gonna catch them eating dinner nowhere. Just not.
Yeah.
But then you go into this world and people like, oh, we gonna okay, she light skinned. Yep, she just light
Trying to
skinned.
figure it out.
Yeah, trying to figure it out, and it's like
Yeah.
just allow people to be themselves. And
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
when I'm sure you having your coaching business, you see it all the time, like being able to help somebody. It don't matter what you look like, as long as you help somebody. Because sometimes your own people be the people that stab you in your back. It
Yeah.
be the people that'll fuck you over. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna keep doing this because you my family. Nope, hell, me personally, I don't care. If my mama was to do something crazy, hey, OG, I'm sorry, I can't rock with you. I'm still your son, but I can't rock with you, and you don't have to look at that. And then you are helping people not look at that. Like, have you had any masterminds or anything? Are you there yet to where you have masterminds where like your clients are all in the same room and everybody looking like this look like an AA meeting? You know what I'm saying?
So the reason that I can say that I've worked with all genders and sexualities and races really is because I've held group spaces for people. And I know my one-on-one clients that I work with, my private clients that I work with, I know that they're all of different groups, I guess you could say. But I did hold one group container last summer. And it was so interesting because this is why I can say it's not about what you look like on the outside or the boxes you decide to check. Because if you're here to figure your purpose out, this is about your soul mission. This has nothing to do with this body you're in. Like your meat suit, that's what I like to call it sometimes. It has nothing to do with that, because a black person, a white person, a gay person, a straight person, you can all be looking for, what's my purpose? Why am I here on earth? Because at the end of the day, we're all just having this human experience and want to know the deeper meaning to it and what we're here to do and what makes us feel fulfilled. And that doesn't really always have to play into what you look like on the outside. Can you support a group of people based on what you look like? Maybe that's part of your purpose, working within a certain community because you identify with them. Sure. But at the end of the day, the idea of finding purpose, it's across the board. It's not a certain group of people need help figuring that out more than others. It's really based on where you're at in this journey of life. And so, yeah, I have had containers where there's been people of all different, checking all the different boxes. And that's what I love so much about what I've created, is because it is truly a representation of who I am. And I continue to attract relationships and connections and clients and opportunities that align with that, because I don't deny any piece of myself. And so I either call people up to start doing the same for themselves, or I attract people who also see things that same way, where it's not about, I can't embrace this piece of me because I want to do X, Y, and Z. This is who I am. This is a part of my journey. And if you can't accept that, then we're all reflections of each other. So then that says something about you. What in your life are you not accepting about yourself? If I can confidently say, I love every piece of who I am, I love every piece of the work that I do, and that triggers you, what are you not accepting about yourself? What areas of your life do you get to love that much more, so that you can start showing up fully embodied in who you are?
Yeah. So purpose doesn't have color. Like when we really all sit down and really think about that, how purpose doesn't have colors, because it don't matter what you do. You could be a rapper. You got every genre that listens to you.
Yeah.
It don't matter if you play sports, white people, black people, everybody watches you.
Yes.
So when you have a purpose, it doesn't have a color. Like
No.
that's like, yeah, like that. I think I might even make a shirt with that, something with that. That
Yeah.
really,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
really just hit me different, because when you
Yeah.
think, because when I started my journey of speaking, right, I was going to, have you ever heard of Toastmasters?
I was in it. Yeah. I was actually
Yeah.
the youngest person. They told me I was too young to be in Toastmasters.
So
They're like, if
yes,
you're not 18 yet, you got to come back on your birthday.
wow. So I'm going to Toastmasters because I'm like, I got to learn about speaking. This is something new to me. So I'm going, and this guy comes in, and he's dope. He's dope out the gates. Me and him connect, white guy. And it was like, we going for the same purpose. We ain't looking at nothing different, even though he was like from Chicago. So he was like, he kind of understood the culture a little bit, but it wasn't like him. His kids, our kids was hanging out. Like his wife used to watch my son. Like we became cool. We don't talk as much now. We went different paths and like career wise, but at that moment, like just thinking about what you said, no, it was no color. It was, I didn't went over there and ate dinner, and it's like, y'all got some salt? Yeah, like, so
Yeah.
but it wasn't, it was like we're hanging out, we're kicking it, we're doing stuff. But when me and him worked together, it wasn't about that. Like we were mentoring kids, and most of them was black. We was going to the detention centers like together. That like color was never involved. It was all about purpose. And that's super dope.
That's what we're here for, right?
Yeah,
Like,
when we really think about it. It don't say in the Bible, or if you read the Bible, it doesn't say, oh, well, your purpose is only to work with these people over here.
No.
No, because you never, because say for us that serve people,
Mm-hmm.
we could be somewhere and somebody come up to us and get to talking to us, and oh, because they look like something, we don't talk to them, and we miss our blessing because we were supposed to be a blessing to them.
Yes.
We don't look at it like that. If somebody comes up, it don't matter who they are, and they talking, and I feel like, ooh, uh-oh, it's time to kick into speaking, and I get to talking to them, and I help them out, and they're like, thank you, I really needed that.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what they look like.
Yeah, it don't matter. They could be like, I could be telling you, I'd be like, man, I remember the other day. I don't even remember. Dude, it was some guy. I don't say he was black or white. It was some dude, and I helped him out, and da-da-da. And that's the end of the story. And when we really sit down and look at it, purpose really doesn't have color. Like, you're dope. Like, that really just hit me.
You are too. You are too. Yeah, yeah. I'm
Everybody
glad that
that's
resonated. Yeah.
yeah, that it's like when you think about, because what's the goal? To make money, and everybody goes after money,
Well,
but
yeah,
it's like,
but then, yeah, even deeper. So why do we need money though? What's the point, right? And at the end of the day, we all come back to the same needs. We all have desires. We all have things that we want and we want in life. And that a black person want the same things a white person might want. You want to have a house, you want to have family, you want people that love and care about you. It's the basic needs of being human, not because you're black or because you're white. And we associate it with these certain groups if you identify or check a box or say you're in one group, but then there's people like me who are in this middle ground and can tell you that people from both sides struggle with the same things, they just look differently because there's only one scale of human emotions. There isn't a scale of human emotions for black people and a scale of human emotions for white people, right? Like, it's just
yeah,
what you experience, what happens in your life to evoke those emotions is different. Grief is grief, no matter what. There isn't a black grief and a white grief. It's just the thing that happens to cause your grief might be a bit traumatic in one person's situation than the other, but it's still grief at the end of the day. There's still phases you move through when you experience grief. Happiness is happiness, black or white. There is no black happiness, white happiness. It brings us back to this being of one, of just being human. And I mean, who knows what the hell you were in your past life,
yeah.
you
You just,
know?
you just slapped a couple people that listen to this. You just smacked them upside the head, like when you get that fresh cut, when you was a kid, you smack you. Yeah, because that's really all that
Yeah.
racism, the opposite, what we're talking about is the opposite of racism or stereotypes, or how
They're
cultures are
just
looked at other
systems to
cultures.
keep us separated.
Yeah, because
That's
there's
all it is.
one purpose. It's all one purpose. It's kind of like as black people, as a black
Yeah,
kid, we want to be the president, right? Our chances of being
sure.
the president is one out of what, 44? One out of 44 or 45. Yeah, 44. One out of
Yeah.
40 chance to do that. But it could be we all could want that, but we don't have the same advantage. But as the president, the goal is all the same goal. It don't matter who the president is. It's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be the same goal. Let me say
Mm-hmm.
that. Because
Mm-hmm.
all the presidents, they're a little different and a little dirty, whatever. That's a
Mm-hmm.
whole conversation.
That's
But the
another
goal of
episode.
the president, yeah, the goal of the president is to lead a country. It doesn't say
Yeah.
you have to look like this. One day, I promise, I hope a woman is the president, because what we're talking about, it don't have anything to do with race. It doesn't have anything if you're a man or a woman.
Nope.
It matters if you're a good fucking leader. Like
Yeah.
if you're a good person, it don't matter. It shouldn't matter what you look like if you can lead people. That's
Yep.
kind of like with me. Like somebody might see me, I'm short, I got short hands. They like, what can this dude do? How do you
Yeah.
know what I can do? You haven't even asked, you haven't even seen, you haven't even gave me a chance. Give me a chance and see what happens. It's like basketball. It don't matter where I
Mm-hmm.
go. I don't care what color you is. You look at me any different, that's your fault. The
Right.
results is your fault. And
If
that's
you're
kind of,
judging me, you're judging yourself.
yeah. And like you said,
Yeah.
people hurt, like they say, hurt people hurt people. And it's like
Yep.
whatever you went through, it's like, oh, like you made so perfect sense. Grief has no color, happiness has no color. Like
No.
we all want to be happy, we all want to be wealthy and make sure that our kids live a certain way and don't have to struggle and all this different stuff.
Yeah.
Like, why do we look at it that way? Like you said, it's a system. It's they're trying to
Mm-hmm.
make that way. They want to divide us. Like
Yes.
the Will Smith and Chris Rock thing. Not it ain't nothing deep to me, but it's two black people acting a fucking fool on national TV. And what do they all? They always think it's us. Well,
Well, they
guess
do
what?
that on purpose. It's just, yeah, it's also distraction too of the things that are really happening in the world. Like they're gonna
Yeah,
put two celebrities on TV and make them do that so that a certain community can focus on that versus what's actually really going on. And then it
yeah,
distracts you from figuring out your purpose and who you really are and taking care of yourself. And so you're focused on Will Smith and Chris Rock's life, but you have a lot of internal work that you get to do and healing you get to do. But that's what they do. It's distraction.
yeah.
And so the
Everything.
more we can catch that, yeah, the more we can catch that, the better, the more in touch we can become with our purpose that has no color and become even closer and more fulfilled with those things.
You know what the distraction might be? I heard it's a new strand of COVID. Oh no, this lady I work with, an older lady. Like, yes, you know, older people, they are healthy. She's like,
We got to
yeah,
be careful, so they might shut this episode down, Eric.
yeah,
We got to be careful.
yeah. She's like, it's. She said it's in another country right now, but you know that's how they all can. It could be something like that, or it could be something with the war. Like it's always
But
it's
yeah,
always a distraction, but it's all. Sometimes it's like let it not be us. Let it not be us to act a fool on TV. And when I say us, I mean black people. I'm coming from the black point, like because we already looked upon differently. We already looked on
yep.
upon as oh they acting a fool. So it's like when that happens, everybody talking about oh if I was with it, no, it shouldn't have happened. Hey, let me have all right. Oh, that's you got. I would have been like keep my. He could have said whatever he said, and then be like I'll let you after the show. Where's not the big
No, it's all planned. It's all
yeah,
set up,
you
and we
know
just people
why?
have to tune into that.
Look, you know why? Chris Rock has a tour coming out with Kevin Hart. Guess what? His sales just magically went up. Come
Oh,
on. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's
100%. Well, here's an example that relates very nicely with the beginning of our conversation around um, just like the Black community and experiencing different things, like during the Black Lives Matter movement. I don't know if this was happening so much where you are, but in New Jersey, at least on my social media feed, this was very big. And this is a perfect example of what it means to be awake and deeply connected to myself, that I was able to pick up on this. And so were a few other people, but it just kind of went over the heads of many. The day where it was like Blackout Tuesday and
mhm.
everyone posted a black screen on their social media, and then you saw white people do it and like it was their allies because they posted a black screen on their Instagram. It started to become this thing of like whatever you put on your social media determines like if you're a good person or a bad person. And I remember showing up on social media that day, and I triggered a lot of people by saying this, but what is posting a black screen really healing and doing for people? First of all, with no caption, just a hashtag with a black screen. And to then later find out that now social media is white. You're not seeing anything but these black screens on your whole feed. You don't get no other information besides that. Well, that happened to be the same day as a really important court case with some said people in politics that would have revealed some really big things related to deeper shit like sex trafficking and these things that race isn't a part of. And that was happening on the same day that Blackout Tuesday happened. But of course, we're going to post black screens to black out social media so everyone's asleep and not paying any attention to what's truly going on, because some truth was being exposed that day, but no one would have known it because look at what they did social media that day. So if we're tuned in, if we're connected to the deeper thing that's really going on here and awake to that, we don't miss things like that. We don't fall into these like what did that actually do, posting the black screen, right? Where we could have come up to some really big truth as a community, as a human race, for what's happening to children and all these other groups of people. And so it's really important that we continue to stay tuned into that versus these outward things that people make us think we should be doing to be good black people, good white people. Because if you tune inward, you realize that those are not the answers that they put out there.
And
So
it's like people we forget that racism is gonna happen. People are gonna talk about you to the day that you pass away.
yeah,
say stuff like all the stuff that goes on in the world is gonna happen. It's a cycle. It happened with our parents, grandparents. It just more. And now, like you're saying, the thing is more stuff is like noticeable if you actually pay attention. But you don't
Yep.
have to pay attention. You just when you're living out your purpose, when you're in
Yes.
different rooms because you're making different money, and when you're in different rooms, the conversations is different and you get to learn stuff. Like I've been like my money ain't nowhere near where some of the rooms or some of the people I've talked to, but I've got information and learned about stuff or just networking with people. You hear different kind of conversations or what kind of stock to
Yeah.
somebody could be talking about a money play and then you hear about it 2 3 years later, you be like, dang, I remember when he told me that. Now the whole world knows, and it's because
Hmm.
you didn't look at color. You just looked at, okay, I'm at a conference. We all in a group. We sitting at the table. I don't know you from Adam and Eve. I don't know you from here. You from the suburbs. I'm from the ghetto. We all here for a purpose. Now we talking. We networking. Now you didn't help me make a couple million. I didn't help him make a couple million. Like, and we
Yep.
didn't. Instead of that, we look at the shit. And so I don't. I promise. I try not to get into that. Like I didn't make no comments. I just was reading people's stuff. Like I don't try to like,
Yeah.
uh, especially here in Indiana. Indiana is very racist. So when something happens with the black person or even a white person, I just go look at the news and look at the comments and look at people, and I'm like, boy, y'all some heartless people.
And
Like
they
you
pick and
was
choose what they project out to us, what news we
like
see, and
they want to be
yeah.
tough. It's like if y'all really want to get down with the get down, we're not our grandparents. We are about all the smoke. If y'all really like, and that's the thing, as black people, we're actually probably some of the nicest people. We just been through a lot of shit. So pain is overweighed the love that we actually have inside because we just don't know how to love sometimes.
Yeah, we don't know
I
how,
don't
and it's not being healed. No one
yeah,
is, you have to be tough. You have to be hard on the outside. You have to wear this shell because you're in protective mode. Look at, I'm 5 minutes from the bridge in Philadelphia, and the amount of deaths that have happened in 2022 over there is ridiculous for only being in March. And
yeah.
so the amount of pain that exists there, well, it's also very evident of the amount of healing that gets to happen there. One of my she was not really like a personal mentor of mine, but I've read her books. Her name is Iyanla Van Zant. I think you'd really like some of her stuff, but my dad and her have always read her
I got a
books and
book. My
things.
mom just gave me a book from her.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course she did. And of course. And
yeah.
so she says one of something she shared a while back was it takes 13 generations to break a pattern or to heal something. 13 generations. And that is biologically in our DNA. Hurt, trauma, pain, all those things exist on a DNA level. And so if someone is not actively choosing to heal those things, the pattern will continue. And so, like you said, we're not our grandparents, yes, but we carry the hurt and the trauma that they did not heal. And so we're acting out of this place that's not really truly us. It's coming from previous people. And so we could recognize that and be the person who, like ourselves, puts ourselves in these rooms where we're the oddball out to learn from other groups of people and gain different perspectives and do the work, do the healing work. Like that's part of my purpose, is to be here to break generational patterns, to do shit differently. And because if not, then these stories of I'm not good enough or I'm not black enough or I'm not white enough, my kids are going to have those stories one day. And like that's not benefiting anyone. So if I get to move through that and heal that and love all parts of myself, I can then pass that to others. So if we can just acknowledge that this pain and this hardness that people have, like it's really just a calling for healing. And that's that deeper work that I get to do with people, and that I'm witnessing so many other people are starting to commit to, is like, if we're going to start doing things differently as a human race, we have a lot of shit to heal.
So with that, since that's when it comes to the healing, people got to come to you. They got to come to you. So what is 3 tips that people of any from anywhere can use to maybe not look at their certain situation
Mm-hmm.
or what's going on and look at the purpose, like look how to get to find out their purpose or get to
Yeah.
aim towards their purpose rather than looking at the the stuff that's relevant but irrelevant.
Yeah. Yeah. So the first thing I would say is going to be to acknowledge. to simply sit with yourself. And this is like, that's a loaded question. And I just want to acknowledge that for anyone who's like listening to this as well, is like, it's not like a 1, 2, 3, you have your purpose, but these are the things that will start to energetically activate things within you to start calling you up and start awakening your heart, or start awakening your soul, that voice that wants to speak, not the fear, not the pain, not the worry, but that voice that comes from love, that comes from peace, comes from abundance. You'll start to hear that voice more. So I would say tip number 1 would be to acknowledge what's working in your life and what's not working in your life. What feels good and what doesn't feel good right now. And then do that as a scale across all areas of your life. In your relationships, what relationships are working? In your job, what's working, what's not working? All of those things. Analyze the different areas of your life. What do I like? What do I not like? Just start by asking yourselves that, because a lot of times people don't even ask themselves that. Then from there, reflect. Ask yourself, how did I get here? How did I get to this point where I'm in a job that I really don't like? I'm literally just here to make money and it's not fulfilling me in any other way. How did I end up in this relationship that I keep coming back to and it's extremely toxic? And I know it's not serving me, but I don't know how to get out of it. How did I end up here? So I would say acknowledging first what's working, what's not working, reflect on how you even got there, and then a simple practice of finding gratitude. How is everything in your life happening for you? And when you've been through trauma, you've been through hardship, you've been through pain, it's really hard to see that sometimes. But when you challenge yourself every day to ask, how is this happening for me? You'll start to realize, because we were talking before we pressed record on this, like we are presented with lesson after lesson. And until we learn that lesson and integrate it, the universe is going to keep showing us that lesson until we're like, all right, I get it, I learned it, and I'm going to embody the version that gets it. So what are things that you can be grateful for, and asking yourself, how is this happening for me? How has X, Y, and Z happened for me? Versus thinking you're the victim of your life, because that's not going to really get you anywhere. You're not going to feel empowered by that. So I would say those 3 things. Yeah.
It's I was watching an interview on B Simone, and she was like, you're gonna get the same test until you pass it. Like the same stuff will happen until like the acknowledge. And when you say every area, you was like job, everything, and that even hit me, because I'm like, okay, I need to sit down. Sit down and ask myself at work, because it's like my job is cool. I teach. Like it's not what I want the end goal to be. Is it's helping, but it's like where can I get better? And I'm a person that asks questions. I always trying to figure out, what am I doing, or maybe what I'm not doing versus somebody else, but just asking myself what's working for me, what's not working. And then that's when I'll be able to, hey, I need some help in this area. And then you said reflect. How did I get here? That is, people don't look at that. People like something to happen and say something to happen and somebody else is involved. You'll blame that person. No, you got here on your own, because you have to realize what you did. It's not
what choices did you make.
You can say
don't judge it. Don't judge it. Like there's no right or wrong. Just how did I get here? What choices did I make? Whether they helped you or hurt you, how did I get here?
Yep, because I was watching a video I did. I was like, somebody that became homeless, they didn't just become homeless overnight. Like you don't just, like, even if say you rich or you hit the lottery, you just don't become broke overnight. It's your habits, it's stuff that you did, and you look up and you like, hold on, I don't got no crib. Oh, this happened. Or it could be the opposite. You broke and you've been consistent at something, and you look up, oh, wait a minute, my bank account is looking kind of nice. And it's because you had to reflect on what you did. Like, how did you get there? Like what? Because I did that not too long ago, where I was winning. Like I was making some money at work. I had another job, money was coming in, and I was like, what was I doing when I was winning? Because it's not like I'm losing or anything, but it's like I had a good, like, you go through life and life punches you. Like, how do I get back there? And I was like, okay, I remember I was doing this in the morning, and I was doing this, and it's like, okay, start getting back to those things. So it's like, how do you get to where it don't matter, like when you reflect, it could be you reflect each day on how how you get there. So don't look at the reflection as it got to be long term. Look at it small term. Then you said find gratitude. I've heard that so many different times, because it's not I have a job. It's like I get to go to this job, because everybody don't get to do everything that they want. So you have to look at life. You have to be grateful for everything that you have. Wherever your feet are at, be grateful for it,
Yeah.
and find the happiness in it, that you can look at. Okay, I don't have a car, but I can Uber every day to work. I know every day I'm gonna make it to work. So somebody might have a car and their car might break down. They might not be able to make it to work, but I know I'm gonna figure out to have that money in that account to get there. So I'm grateful that I can get to work. I'm grateful I get to
Yeah.
come. I don't live in the best of neighborhoods, but I get to come to a house. Like I'm good. Everybody don't get to say that. So
Yeah.
it's you have to be grateful for everything, every little thing, because
Because
when you're grateful,
gratitude is you acknowledging what has been given to you and what has happened for you. And when you're grateful for something, you attract more of that. Because what you focus on, where you put your focus is where things
yeah,
start to flow, right?
yeah,
And so if you're grateful for certain things, that's what you'll start to receive: more opportunities, more experiences, more people in your life that are on that same frequency of the things you're grateful for. And it's not just, well, because there's people starving in this country, I'm grateful for the food I have, but genuinely, like, feel it in your body, like, I'm grateful for this because it's going to literally nourish my body. If I don't put this food in my body, I'm going to get weak and pass out and my blood sugar is going to drop, or whatever it may be, versus making it something external outside of you, which is a very great place to start when it comes to gratitude, of like, well, because this person doesn't have it and I have it, I have to be grateful for it. But no, like, why do you have it, and how is it helping you specifically? Don't make it about anyone else, because it's your situation, it's your circumstances right now. So being able to fully feel it in your body, like, take moments to, like, literally put your hands on your heart, like, I'm breathing in this moment and this is happening for me right now, right? And it could be the simple things of driving to work. Like, you get to make an impact on these kids' lives every day. That's huge. Everything that you're doing in this conversation right now, you're going to show up to that classroom with knowledge you didn't have before, activations you didn't have before, and those kids are then going to receive that. And look at that then generational influence that you get to have, like, if you can look at how is what I'm doing helping the greater good, it allows you to feel really fucking powerful as a person.
yeah. It really does, and it's like can't nobody tell me like you can't tell me that I'm like not doing what, like, because sometimes I'm a preschool teacher. I went from elementary and then to little kids, so they might look at it as like, what, bro, you don't know that I'm at the beginning.
You're
So what
putting you're Yeah, yeah.
so I might not be able to. I know what they need to learn, but I might install value. I might install different stuff in them that carries along with the
Yes.
next person class that they're in, that teaches them the read, write, all that, the school, the
I
stuff.
remember my preschool teacher.
Yeah. And
People remember you.
yeah, because
They
I
will, yeah.
might down the line might be one of the only black men that they have in their class, and a lot
Yeah.
of them, like some of them look at me probably like as a father figure. Some of them look at me like a little uncle or something. Because these kids,
Mm-hmm.
they like, and it's just like one of the kids. He's real bad, like real bad. But when he with me, or he ain't on that, and it's like something about me to him. He like, no, I can't be on that, because it's like Mr. Eric gonna let me go play if I really don't mess up. Because I'm not a person that looks at a kid like, oh, you bad. Oh no, I was bad. So I know all he done, I didn't done. So I'm not gonna look at him like he's a kid. He's doing kid stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's like when you look at what you do, that power really comes. It's like when you walk in there,
Mm-hmm.
them kids gonna light. I know the kids gonna light up, and when you get on a call or whatever, somebody gonna light up like, oh, I'm talking to coach today. Like, I know she about to
Yeah.
give me some stuff to go out here, and it's like, I don't care what somebody negative say, or, oh, you go to bed too early, or you do this. You don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know why
Mm-hmm.
I do that. I gotta do
Mm-hmm.
that for a certain reason. That's not your assignment, but it's my assignment. So I gotta do something different. And
Yes.
yeah, like you said, like, so I need an underdog quote. It could be your quote, it could be somewhere, whatever. I mean, you dropped
Yeah. Yeah.
gems. Just go ahead and give us an underdog quote about something about purpose, around somebody with
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah. you don't have to deny any piece of yourself in order to succeed.
Mm, mm, mm.
It's not necessary. Yeah. Don't deny any piece of yourself. You don't have to in order to succeed.
Oh man, that's it. That's it right there. So before we get to the how people can reach you and stuff, you got to
Yeah.
give the listeners. You're the one that
Yes.
have a gift, and I appreciate that. So tell
Yeah.
the listeners what the gift is and what to do.
Yeah. So the gift, when you and I started talking, I was like, so I have something I want to share with your listeners, if that's okay. You're like, oh, all right. So the gift is a guide that I created. It is called the Reset, Realign, Reactivate Guide. It is completely free. And I'm sure Eric will put in the show notes for people to click the link to literally just go and download this guide. But why? What is the point? What is the guide for? It's to simply reset, realign, and reactivate, to tune back into yourself. So a lot of what we talked about today is probably going to bring some shit up for people. They're probably going to start asking themselves some deeper questions. And if they don't, and they're just listening as they're driving or whatever it may be, they're going to receive the activations anyway, because that's these conversations are very potent in that way. And so this guide is tools and resources to reconnect with your true self. So whether it's you went out for the whole weekend and you come home and you're feeling bloated and disconnected and just hung over and whatever it may be, and you got to get back on your shit for the week, or it could be you just got out of a relationship and it wasn't serving you and you feel really disconnected from who you truly are. The tools and the resources, the exercises within this guide are intuitively put together in an order that will realign you with who you truly are. And so I designed this to be completely free because I think it's tools that everyone could benefit from. It's no tool in there I haven't used and that I don't use almost daily. And so this will be shared with your entire community, the Reset, Realign, Reactivate Guide. And I'm so excited to share it because I think these tools are, everyone is deserving of this type of medicine, these types of things they don't teach you in school. How to protect your energy, how to cleanse your energy, how to come back to your true self. They don't teach you that. And so I've found ways that have worked for me, that have worked for many others, and have been able to share it with my community, and grateful now to be able to share it with yours.
Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's gonna benefit. I'm actually gonna get to click on the link before you guys.
Yeah.
So when I get the link, I'm gonna use it myself
Yeah.
because this was a dope conversation. I think I like how we started with, your upbringing, then kind of what you had to face, or how you looked at, not really much how you faced, but how you looked at the world, and it helped
Yes.
people understand that purpose doesn't have a color. Like
Oh, I love that.
yeah, I appreciate this conversation. Like it was super dope. Like I already knew it was gonna be dope from our first conversation, but
Yeah.
it's like it really, like, for me, a light bulb ding ding went on a couple times. Like I'm probably gonna go back and listen. I haven't done a video virtually yet, so I usually, when I'm doing audio, I'm taking notes, and I have notes. So I gotta go
Yeah.
back and listen, because you added a lot of value. I wouldn't say dropped a lot of gems, just added value that is realistic, that people can actually do in real time and
Yes.
help themselves. And again, I appreciate you. So how can people
Yeah.
reach you? How can they see what you're doing? If you have any projects, anything, how can people reach you?
Yeah. So the Reset, Realign, Reactivate guide is going to be helpful for everyone. But to hang out with me, connect with me, be in my energy, I hang out a lot on Instagram. So my Instagram is just my first and last name. I know Eric will also, you'll put that in the show notes for them as well. So at Cayla Brewton is my Instagram. You can come hang out with me there. And then to continue to receive like these activations and be a part of, connecting with your purpose of emerging, which is my business, whether it's looking for support one-on-one, it's receiving any other type of guidance. I actually have a few spots open right now for one-on-one coaching, for that next level of, like, you want more in your life, you're trying to achieve more, to become more, and you just don't know the questions to ask yourself to reveal what that might look like, to get clear on that vision of your future self, and then actually create steps to become that person. And so that's the work that I get to do with my clients one-on-one. And I have, I think, 2 or 3 spots open right now, for that opportunity to receive those activations and really start stepping into your higher self and step into your purpose. Because like we said, it doesn't have color. And I would be honored and am very grateful to be able to share this with your community as well. So thank you.
Oh, thank you again. Thank you so much for adding value, for being yourself, for not looking at color. Because sometimes, you could be a mixed person that, oh, I'm black. No,
Yeah.
you, and so you, or oh, I'm white, or because you
Yeah.
said your sister looks more white, you look
Mm-hmm.
kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys could have went the different way, but you didn't, and you look at life bigger than the outside, and I love that. This was
Yeah.
a dope conversation. Again, I appreciate you. Do you have any closing words before we get out of here?
Just continue to seek, listen to that voice, that connection with your purpose that's bigger than the pain, the hurt, the grief, whatever it may be. Because Eric and I are true testaments of what that looks like, to listen to that other voice that's more empowering. So yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm excited to continue to connect with you and your community.
Appreciate it. And on that note, peace, one love.
Thanks, guys.